Hello, everyone, and welcome to Evie and the Robot episode. Uh, what episode are we on?
I think I want to say episode 7. Episode 7, I think. Maybe.
7.
Yeah.
We should have checked. We should have checked before we recorded this, didn't we?
Yeah, probably. I guess it's like a trend because
Uh,
last time we didn't know either.
uh, Welcome to Evie and the Robot episode for one after the previous one.
We'll just go with that. Yeah, we'll just go with the one after the
Yeah,
previous one. It works better.
yeah. And well, first off, Happy New Year because it's the 10th now. But it's the first. We had a bunch of plans for what we were going to do in December. We were going to cover a couple of topics, but a couple personal things got in the way of that, and it was just very, very busy. I got a job,
Yeah.
and just it fell by the wayside. But we're back for 2025, and we have big plans for the year. Big plans, if we can actually get them plans off the ground,
Yeah.
because we're like. This is our DCEU arc. It's like we're saying we're doing a lot of stuff, but like it's a bit uncertain if we're actually gonna do it.
Yeah, exactly. We'll just have to see how it goes because like 2025 I think it can happen. Like we've just been very very busy throughout like the past couple of months.
Yeah, it's just stuff's gone away. But now so, well, before we get on to the main topic of this episode, we have a little bit of catch up to do because the previous episode was about the Penguin, the Matt Reeves Batman TV show spin-off, and in that time, a bunch of news happened in relation to that universe, and we're both big fans of it, and so we figured we'd do like a little catch up bit.
Yeah, a little catch
And
up
first off,
section.
the film, the part two got delayed.
Again for like the 10th time.
Yeah, again.
It's just kind of like a trend for the Matt Reeves universe, like the films to just get delayed because it happened with the first one so much.
The thing is, the first one, it had an excuse. There was a pandemic going on.
And now it's just like it's getting delayed because
This
Matt.
one, it was like, first off, there was the strike, which is a perfectly valid thing to do. We went in our House of Dragon episode. We went through how like that show was really buggered because of the strike and WB, but also there
Yeah.
was the whole thing where like a certain writer or someone, not sure what his name was suing Matt Reeves because he thought the Batman ripped off his script, and one of the parameters was it was set in Gotham.
Oh,
Like that,
that's
it was a bullshit. It was a bullshit sort of lawsuit, but it was still a lawsuit, so we had to go through that. And
yeah.
he was producing the Penguin, which is like a whole thing. Like he didn't write or direct any of the episodes, as far as I know, but like he was very hands-on producer type. So like that was a big responsibility. So like he was in all the interviews and like the press junkets. So like
Yeah.
but and also the main prevailing sort of thing nowadays, which isn't confirmed, like it's just the main sort of thing, like, is that he is going through some shit right now. Is that a lot of sources have said like there's a valid personal reason for why it's taking so long, and that there is something going on in his life, and it's not confirmed, but the main sort of like running theory that I've seen is that it might be a divorce or something, which it's not our place to really discuss and
Yeah.
theorize. But either way, whatever's going on with him, fair enough. Take as long as you need.
Yeah, exactly. When you talked about the like whole lawsuit thing because they sued him because it had the word Gotham in it. Reminds me when a
But
town.
it wasn't because they had a word Gotham. It was because like it was similarities to the script, and one was it was it was setting Gotham was a similarity apparently,
It reminds me
and
when.
also one was that if it has the Riddler as a villain or something, and just very vague Batman stuff where it's like,
And
this
it could
isn't a
happen.
similarity, this is exact script. This is just a similarity
Coincidental.
because it's a Batman script.
Yeah, like it reminds me when like there's this town called Gotham when the Nolan
Oh
trilogy was
yeah,
coming out.
oh yeah, and that's why they couldn't call it Batman. It's why the first one is called Batman Begins, but the second one is called The Dark Knight because they couldn't have Batman by title.
Yeah, exactly.
And even then, it's not even pronounced Batman. It's pronounced more like Buttman or whatever because it's in Turkey.
Yeah, exactly. It's weird shit like that where it's like, oh, they got really mad that Gotham was being used in their city and they weren't getting like paid for it because their town name was Gotham.
There's a place in the UK here called Gotham, I think. I
Oh
don't know if it's a
shit.
city or if it's a town or something, but like I've seen it on like a map somewhere that like there's a place in the UK called Gotham, which is like it's weird. It's all lawsuit shit, and I don't know. I work in a freaking retail store.
Yeah, I'm not a lawyer. Like I watched Better Call Saul and that's like my law degree. Like my law degree pretty much ends there. I've watched
It's
Breaking
like,
Bad a lot. That's all I know about law. And
yeah, but yeah, but yeah, there's been like a lot of updates for that, and we do like, and like it looks to be sort of on the good side now because he said it's filming this year, which for all we know could mean it films in November, December, because
yeah,
it's technically this year.
he Matt Reeves is a bit autistic like that. He'll say like things are happening and then it will like happen later on or something like that. I love the man. He's I love the way he
Yeah, but
works.
yeah, but and even like a recent like interview with like Zoe Kravitz, he said that like he acknowledges that his process takes a while.
Yeah, like he real like he I think he said in the interview that he realizes that like it can be a bit painful like his process like not like physically or anything just like in terms of waiting for things to come out he's kind of a
Yeah.
perfectionist in that way
I
like he
mean, to
just
be fair,
needs things to take time.
I do get it because, like, for instance, like he said he doesn't. I think it said like he doesn't submit drafts. He just works on the same draft over and over again until that's what he submits.
Yeah, which is very
Because there was all that,
respectable.
there was all that doom and gloom because James Gunn said that a draft hadn't been submitted, but like yeah, there hasn't. It's just he doesn't do drafts.
Yeah.
It's just people are so desperate for these films to be cancelled. It's really funny. Which
Yeah.
brings me to like the other sort of Batman news is how like because the main prevailing thing for all this is that so many people want Pattinson and the Reeves films to be part of the DCU, and they want the Brave and the Bold to be cancelled or whatever. And it's
Yeah.
like, no, no, like I say this because High Top says it all the fucking time, and it's like, let it go, man. He
I
had this whole thread how like I've made my peace with how this won't happen, but the whole
th-
thread was like, but it should happen, it should happen, it should happen, I need it to happen, I need it to happen.
I still can't get over the fact that like his whole thread just is the equivalent of that wolf man just staring off in the distance while sitting down like he's like acting like the worst possible thing just happened like I if Matt Reeves wants it to be a separate universe which he very very much does like
Yeah, it's like he tried doing sort of things of like, oh, maybe Bruce is scared because it's like it means being tied to a universe, and it's like maybe the man just doesn't, maybe he just doesn't want to do it.
yeah I don't think it'd be like extremely consistent with like the tone he's going for like because he's going for a very grounded take of Batman and then
It's
all of
like
a
I
sudden
want,
flying guy.
it's like I want people to think about it for a second. Because the whole thing with DCU, it's going to be the sort of cinematic version of the characters for a while, like a good 10 years or so.
Yeah.
And like it means they'll be in everything, so like any sort of tie-in stuff and all that, they'll be in it. And Matt Reeves' whole thing is that it's super grounded. It's like the characters like serial killers and like stuff you find in the real world.
Yeah.
Do you want the Batman's version of the Riddler to be the version of the Riddler that's up against like in the same universe as Superman and all that? Surely
Yeah.
you wouldn't want him like with the cane, and the top hat, and the green suit.
You can just imagine the Riddler Twitch streaming to Superman, like making him solve riddles and shit. And like talking to like talking about his fans, like thanks for the support against Superman. Everyone really appreciate it.
Yeah.
And she'll be
Or,
so
or even
dumb.
like yeah, and it's like we're sort of saying is if if Mr. Freeze is the villain of Part 2, which I hope he is, he's not going to be full on fantastical Mr. Freeze. He's going to be a lot more grounded. Like, I
Yeah.
think it can work, like, just don't go too over the top or anything, but, like, then that means that would be the Mr. Freeze of the DCU. It's like, no, if you're gonna do it, go big or go home. That's like,
Yeah. Make like
it's like just think about it. It's like think about it for a second. It's like these universes and the ideas they're going for do not mesh. And I
yeah.
wish people would understand that and stop going, but it'd be cool though.
Yeah, because like I think when I think of like a Mr. Freeze character, like if they in the DCU, I'm thinking like Ice Cave, polar bears, like Batman Sub-Zero type stuff where he has like the whole layout and Nora's in like the corner of like his little ice cave. It's something
Yeah,
like
yeah,
that that
yeah.
feels
Like
kind of
like like like
fantastical.
like Arkham Origins, really big bulky suit, really
Yeah.
big fucking gun, and just like freezing people in place and that. Whereas like in Reeves films, it'd be a lot more emotionally grounded and like a bit less reliant on the whole uh, technology stuff. I mean, they can do that. Truthfully, it is a case of just how Reeves would. If he does it, it's a case of he does it how he does it. It's like we can't really predict how he'd do it.
Yeah, I think he'd probably have the ice suit, but just like a different version of it that's not, you know, the way it is in the comics. I feel like it would be more
It's like
grounded.
it's like I don't. For instance, I don't think he'd be blue or something. Like
No,
I don't
no, he
think.
definitely wouldn't.
I think he'd be really pale, but and like a very very light blue, but like not like super duper blue skin, all that stuff. It's just like it is how it is with him, and like uh, and what I'm saying, I have a whole because people have been saying like, but it's because Andy Muschietti is the director for Brave and the Bold,
Yeah,
and I'll make it clear he is not my choice because I, I perfectly understand that the Flash was not his fault.
yeah,
Like the fact that a film is even well, I don't want to say it's watchable, but the fact that it even exists as a film and was released and exists is pushed down to him. Like
yeah,
it's like for better or worse, he got it made, and it's like if you could get something like that done, I think there's a reason why he can be hired like a Batman film because it means you'll get it out, you'll get it done,
yeah,
and and the Flash was done under the previous DCU regime because that was a shit show.
yeah. I mean, like, not to
Whereas
mention,
like with Gunn, it's like get it out when you get it out, and we don't greenlight it until we have a script.
exactly. I think James Gunn sees something in Andy that like not a lot of like other directors have. I think he,
Plus, also he directed it, and like that's like the highest grossing horror film of all time, and that
yeah,
was a WB film. So like, of course you're gonna want to keep him around.
yeah, and of course, like there's the fact that like he still released the film with like Ezra Miller doing all of the bullshit Ezra Miller was doing, like
Yeah, it's like there was so much riding against that film, and it's like it doesn't look good, but it's like I want to see what he can do in a comic book film when it isn't the Flash.
yeah, when there isn't
It's like
bullshit going
and
on.
it's like I know he said the dumb thing of like the CGI looks bad on purpose, but there is no fucking way that was done on purpose. I'm fairly certain he was saying that just to cover himself.
Yeah, I don't think he's like I wanted the film to look bad on purpose. I think he's like I'm trying my I'm trying my best. I just want I just want this thing to work. I
Yeah, it's like sometimes there's comments where you can tell this is not something that a human, like a director or creative would actually say. It's like with
yeah.
the director of the Wicked films. Like he's just come out and said that the second one, Wicked for Good, was never called Wicked Part Two, and it was always like that. Then why did you call the first one Wicked Part One?
I
And like, and he says like, no one goes to see a film with titled Part Two, and it's like that's a very corporate response.
feel
It's
like
like
it's
that's not something a director would say, you know?
yeah. I feel like it's quite the opposite though. Like usually people don't like seeing a film that's called Part 1 because I feel like it's quite a commitment there. Because like, you know,
Actually, it's not that case. It's a case of they don't clarify when the film's coming out that it's a part one. It's like
yeah,
Dune, I love it, but you literally drop the fact that it's a part one right as the film fucking opens.
yeah, I kind of respect it though because I feel like it's more of a thing of
Okay,
like
yeah, that's at least commendable because like it's,
there's a lot
it's
riding against
complicated.
it, and
It's complicated because Dune was seen as like a super unfilmable thing. Like it was so unfilmable. Like the David Lynch film was infamous for how like unfilmable it was, and like dropping a new adaptation, like a fresh new one, and having part one in the title card.
ballsy.
That takes balls.
Yeah. I feel like that whole film is
Yeah,
just ballsy. We always keep referring back to Dune at some point. It's just like humble beginnings, I suppose, but also because the films
yeah.
are great.
Like, but yeah, like it at least committed to the second one being called Dune Part Two.
Yeah,
It's
and
like and like it was one of the biggest films of 2024, so it's like the idea of no one wants to see a film called Part Two. It's like that's a corporate response.
it's
It's
just
like The
ridiculous.
Godfather Part Two, Dune Part Two, friggin' The Batman Part Two.
Yeah,
Well,
people are
okay, to be
excited.
fair, there is a. It's funny because the article that came out that said the Batman Part Two had been delayed also said that it's possibly been retitled, but so far Matt Reeves still refers to it as Part Two. So it's like we don't quite know what it's called, but as far as I know, it's still called Part Two. So
I think I think the title, if it's like being renamed, it might give away like who the villain might be because you know like
oh yeah,
I feel
like people, it's like there's a bunch of fan posters where it's like the Batman Heart of Ice or something like that, where it's
yeah.
like it would give away who the villain is. So it's like I get the feeling that once they get the castings out, then they'll announce if it's been changed. But point being, the idea that people don't want to see a film called Part Two is
Bullshit.
ridiculous, and like the whole you can tell where it's like it's a director being forced to say something by like an executive.
Yeah, exactly. They don't really have any other choice. They're like, fuck it, I guess I'll say this.
So yeah, and it's why it's like I haven't seen enough of Andy Muschietti's work to like judge him. I've seen it. It's it's part one. It's chapter one, and I've seen the Flash, and like that isn't really a that's not
Yeah.
like a very fair work to be blunt. It's like and like those were both under like old WB regime, so it's for all we know he could be this really good director that like
Yeah, we just don't
can
know.
deliver. And like it wasn't very good, but like there were elements of the Flash film, particularly like the Batman stuff, where it's like if in a better film where it could be focused on better and fine tuned better, this could be good.
Yeah. I'm starting to like learn over time that it's really not really anyone's fault. Like a lot of people are like, "Oh, if the actor's bad, then it's probably the director's fault." But it's in reality, it's probably not even the director's fault. It's probably like
Yeah,
the person above them.
especially especially under the old DC regime. Like
Yeah.
famously, it had a whole freaking saga about a director like being forced to do something and make changes. I mean, to be fair, I don't think his vision was very good, but
Yeah.
like it was a case of like it was meddled with so hard and like it ended up like just so blowing up in the studio's face because of it.
Yeah, like Zack Snyder, for example. Like Zack Snyder, like say what you want about his film, but they were still kind of like corporately fucked over. Even the Snyder cut that a lot of people say that are true.
Even the Snyder Cut isn't the true Snyder Cut
Yeah,
because
cause
the plan was it was going to be just like part one and part two, like
yeah,
when Batman v Superman came out. Right? And then like they saw the reception to Batman v Superman, and they started panicking. But Justice League was already a good little bit into filming, so they were like, change it, change it, change it. So it's like we got the already compromised version of the Snyder Cut. So it's like it's why I'm at least glad that like DC is now being ran by a director. So
yeah,
like
because the
and like
director
and
knows.
a director who has worked under Marvel. So,
Yeah,
so it's like he gets it. He gets what it's like to work under that sort of thing.
yeah, exactly. I feel like a lot of people are like, oh, James Gunn has made a lot of bad decisions, but I'm like, I mean, that's kind of to be expected if like he's new to this kind of thing. Like he's gone from director
Yeah,
to guy who runs everything now.
yeah. Like uh, for instance, well, the thing is, like, I'm on Twitter a lot, so I do see a lot of people like sort of slagging off Gunn, being like, "Oh, we shouldn't be doing this, shouldn't be doing that." But then, like, I think about it for a bit, and it's like, actually, no, there's no reason why he shouldn't be doing that. It's like people say, "Oh, he's on Twitter too much and interacting too much," but it's like most of what he does is like answer fan
Yeah.
questions and debunk rumors, and it's like, surely that's what you want.
Yeah,
It's
I
like
think a communicative director, like a CEO who is very communicative and like wants to try and tell like the
it's like
truth about his
the reason
projects.
why it's like the reason why we know that the Batman Part Two won't be in the DCU is because Gunn has said numerous times on like friends on Twitter and that like no, it is separate, and said that over and over and over again in response to fans. So it's like it is good to at least answer those sort of things, and like you can it is a bit confusing with the whole Carnesty thing. Like he has kind
Yeah.
of made that a little. He has made that a bit difficult. If there's anything I can really say, I do kind of wish it was a clean slate, but I don't fault him for wanting to keep the stuff that he's made because it's like
Yeah.
with some stuff, it's like it is just kind of slop. Like most for DCU, which is kind of slop.
Like
Like I don't think anyone, no one was pining to keep like Wonder Woman 84 or something. Like,
yeah.
but like with James Gunn, like his homes were like his babies. Like he put his all into them. So of course of course he's gonna try and keep them.
Yeah.
So like,
Well,
and there was still stuff coming out like Blue Beetle and that. So like,
and Peacemaker
if
like season
it's
2.
yeah, it's like it is a case of like if you squint, it makes sense. And like I would have liked a clean slate, but it's like if it's a case of like there's just a few things that carry over rather than it being everything carried over, I'm good.
Yeah, I'm just going with the
But
flow with it.
yeah. I think that's enough sort of catch up on DC and onto our main topic, which is Wallace and Gromit.
Oh yeah. The Cheese Brothers.
Yeah, because over Christmas they released the latest film, A Vengeance Most Foul.
I think I think we can both agree that the main reason
It,
why this
it's
film is out is because it's a response to AI, like the whole artificial
well,
intelligence.
yeah, they've to be fair, like it's I mentioned this in my latest rewatch, but like it is a good anti-AI film. Like
Yeah.
in like a world where like everyone like treats it as a really niche thing, this strikes a really, really good balance, has a really good message. Like if you take away the Walton Comic charm, it is perfect for like the AI message. And like even if they've said the only reason they did it was so they could have Wallace say AI lad.
I think there's something else we should both get out of the way very quick. Do you want to say it first or should I? I
I'm not sure. You say it.
The crackers.
We forgot the crackers,
The
Gromit.
crackers. We forgot them. We forgot the crackers. Um, Ever since I've seen that clip on Twitter, the one where like they just dramatically say the crackers. I have been saying that to myself like ever since I saw it because I just found it really funny.
I mean, to be fair, a lot of my vocal stims are just Wallace. Like while at work, when I've been doing inspecting stuff, I've just been saying to myself, "The bouncer's gone from his bungee."
I mean, to be fair, I can do a really good Gromit impression, but like I like it.
Funny, funny.
I mean, I'm just saying. A lot of people have complimented me on my Gromit impression. Like,
Well,
not.
Can you do a very sarcastic brow raise towards the camera?
I I can try. I I know you can't see it, but I'm doing a very sarcastic brow raise right now. It kind of looks like a Gromit's eyebrow raise. Unfortunately,
Yeah.
I'm not literally Gromit since I'm not like a mute dog, but I'm getting there.
Well,
I feel like give
I
me like a few more
think to be
years.
fair, Gromit actually was going to have a voice in the original sort of Grand
That's
Day
right.
outro because
Yeah.
he was really didn't do it was because animating his mouth would be a bit too wouldn't make much sense because he doesn't have one.
It
It's like
would
so
look
like
unnatural.
he was he was actually gonna like be voiced by the guy who he was gonna be voiced by. I think it was I forget his name, but he was the voice of the Daleks in Classico.
Oh shit! I actually didn't know that. That would
Yeah,
be quite interesting. Destroy
yeah.
the
He
cheese.
wasn't he wasn't gonna talk like the Daleks, but he was gonna have like a pretty he was gonna have like a fairly sort of grown voice, like a pretty adult voice, and it's like I don't know what Gromit would sound like, to be honest.
I don't know. I'm so surprised. Actually, it is a British like show. Of course, they're gonna have like at least some sort of Doctor Who like reference to it, like whether that be like getting the voice of the Daleks behind Gromit or something like that. I'm glad they didn't go through
I
with
mean,
the voice though.
yeah, yeah, and also speaking of voices, like this is like the first sort of major Wallace and Gromit film where has Ben Whitehead voicing Wallace and not Peter Sellers,
Yeah, yeah. I
because Peter Sellers was the voice from 1989 to roughly 2012, I think.
yeah.
Yeah, he retired in like 2012-ish because the man was in his 90s. He was like 97 when he died.
It's very much a Transformers thing where like I mean you can get the original guy, but I don't think it's gonna sound the same because he's very old.
That's a bit of a that's different. I'm gonna bring up my Transformers autism for a sec, but thing is with Peter Cullen, he only did the G1 cartoon and then never voiced the character again until 2007.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And even then, like his voice aged into the role, like him and Frank Welker. Like I make it very clear that the voices only got better with age. It's
Yeah.
like them in Transformers Prime, for instance, and like them in Bayformers is like peak with their voices. It's like they
Oh
have the
yeah.
right level.
Absolutely.
So it's like you can't. But to be fair, I do kind of think that like eventually Peter Cullen is going to retire or does it until he dies, because the man is 83. Like and they're like finding other voices. He only seems to do the movies now, and we don't know when the hell uh, the next live action one's gonna come out because the Transformers budget seems to be in the toilet because Transformers One flopped. They just cancelled the video game. The
Oh
latest
yeah.
animated series flopped, and yeah, but yeah, the whole thing of like recasting voices and how like that's kind of necessary. Like uh, for instance, like just when Transformers One came out, I was very angry that Optimus wasn't voiced by Peter Cullen and they got like Chris Hemsworth instead.
Yeah.
Because I was like, why didn't you do it? He could still do it. He could, but it's like,
If they're gonna make
I mean, like but once I actually saw the film, it's like, yeah, actually, you know, Chris Hemsworth does do a pretty good job. Like
yeah.
even for a celebrity voice actor sort of thing, he does
Yeah.
really well.
Yeah, exactly. And I think like it like the Wallace voice sounds pretty it sounds pretty similar. Like it's practically
Thing is,
unrecognizable.
thing is, you can because Ben Whitehead's been doing the voice for 20 years. He started doing it for the Curse of Werewood video game
Oh.
because PSL's can do it, so they got him to do it. And in that, you know the clip where Wallace says, "You really ate all those, you
Yeah.
fat bastard." That's
Yeah.
him.
I love I love that.
So like, and like in the cutscenes for them and like the Telltale game, it doesn't quite sound like Wallace. Like it sounds close, but it's like it sounds like a not as good impression. But
Yeah.
like, as the years have gone on, he's become like the de facto voice. Like so, for instance, like there's mostly like ad campaigns for British stuff. So for instance, like there's a lot of like clothes brandings or like merch brandings or like uh certain stuff. Like they always like they do a lot of like like just brand deals, brand campaigns, and like he does the voices for like the adverts they make, and he's gotten better and better as time has gone on. And like this is like the main sort of like show us what you can do sort of thing. And like most of the time he sounds identical. And like and like even if he doesn't sound identical, you'll only notice if you don't know it's him. It's
Yeah.
like you'll only notice if you know it's a different actor. Because like I've seen a lot of people being like, I thought the old guy died. This sounds identical. And so it's like so like yeah, it sounds really it's just really, really good, especially like in an era where like they'll get like they'll just AI the voices, cough, Lucasfilm with Mark Hamill, cough,
Yeah,
uh,
exactly.
and like and it's especially good because in this film with the whole AI angle, I have a scene where the Nobots recreate his voice in like a manipulative way and make him say
Yeah.
stuff he isn't saying, and like it's like it's just oh that just made me really happy because like that was like such a firm sort of like recasting is always better rather than
Yeah.
just getting AI to do the voice.
I think that this AI film could not have been done better if it wasn't by Wallace and Gromit, because like Wallace and Gromit has been like consistently claymation for the last like what 40 years now. And
Uh, had a brief had a brief sort of period where it was CG. They
yeah.
did how many CG films did they do? Just two, I think. Yeah, just two CG films. Flushed Away and After
I
Christmas, and that was because after Where Ever came out, uh, their uh, their archive warehouse burnt down. So
yeah.
like they started dabbling in like CG, so like they could get things done now because they were partnered with DreamWorks at the time, Flushed Away, and those films were very heavily like sort of meddled with, being like, could you do it a bit faster, please?
Yeah,
Does it have to be
exactly.
so? It's like heavily. I'd highly recommend sort of You've heard of Eric, like he works with Tom Scar and uh
Oh, yeah, yeah.
like he did a video on like the history of DreamWorks and Aardman and this whole bit on how like Jeffrey Katzenberg was like super duper like really heavily like a I guess like a micromanager on the production of Were Rabbit and Chicken Run because like he wanted to be like things to be super less British. It's like he was wondering why Wallace doesn't drive a nice car.
Yeah, exactly. I think that like the whole anti AI thing is just perfect coming from the these people, because they
Yeah, it's like it's painstakingly animated, like
yeah,
painstakingly.
like for example, like with claymation it's so much more hands on that you can like literally put in details
Like, it's
handcrafted.
like it's like it's like even in like the really smooth sort look, it like if you compare Grande out to like this, it's like night and fucking day. But like
Oh yeah.
even now on the really smoothed out models, you can still see the occasional thumbprint, fingerprint on the
Yeah,
model.
it's cute. I think it's cute because it's like a it's almost like a signature mark, kind of to like almost like recognizes humble beginnings. You know, I don't know. I find it very
Yeah,
sweet, but I
yeah.
just love
That's
how with claymation you can just I feel like it's a lot better when it comes to like putting in details, because you are literally sculpting the story with your bare hands, and you can put in
and
background
plus like
details.
they've said they have to like basically storyboard the entire thing because they can't do multiple takes.
Yeah,
Like
exactly.
it's like what you do is what you get. And it's like that's why they storyboard it, rewrite it, and make sure they can do it all before they even start making the sets.
Yeah, and I'm just so glad that Wallace and Gromit are back, because it's kind of clear they're gonna make another film at some point.
Yeah, yeah. Like I don't necessarily got like sequel bait out of it, but I do think we may like in like, the next few years because I think they started working on this just a few years ago. Like it's not like Grand Day Out where it took 6 years to make a 30.
Yeah, yeah, it's a lot more
I
advanced
think
now.
it's like they can take quite a bit longer. It can take maybe like a two. Like I think like we uh I think for instance this they started working on it like a few years ago. It might
Yeah,
have been like I think like at the very least like 2020. So it's like five at most like 5-ish years to make a 70-minute film,
yeah.
which is fair enough. Like that's
I,
but
I
I do sort of think like in like for in the near future, like maybe like for one of their next projects might be and well the thing is I'm not sure if I'd want the next Wallace and Gromit to be a sequel to this because,
Yeah.
like, the original trilogy of short films and like even Matter of Life and Death and Curse of Emerald, it's all anthology. You can watch them out of order, and I mean there are some bits where it's like it hints at continuity, like in Wrong Trousers, the government reads a newspaper that says like moon cheese skyrockets in marketplace value, so it's
Yeah.
like it does sort of have, and like in all the ones where you can see like the little rockets on the wall referencing Grand Day Out. So it's like you can see there is a chronology, but it's like a case of like you can
It's
watch them out
it's
of order.
barely connected. Like it's very loosely connected
Yeah,
to one another.
it's an anthology series. It's like does have an order, but like this is the first time where it's like it actively has continuity. Like for instance, one, it's a firm sequel to Wrong Trousers,
Oh
and
yeah.
even it's the first film to actually have a character age as well, because it has uh, Chief Inspector, formerly PC Macintosh, played by
Yeah.
Peter Kay, come back from Curse Aware of It, and he's older, like he's like graying, and like he's going into retirement, and
Yeah,
it
there's like a new cop
we
on the scene.
and like it's like it has the retcon that he was around during the Wrong's days because he was who they called when they caught Feathers, and also we see post Wrong Trousers and pre Curse Aware of It sort of continuity. So it's like it's really sort of weird because it's like
Yeah.
it it's the first time it's really done this sort of really interconnected feel because like every other sort of film has felt very self-contained, whereas this feels like you would kind of have to watch the other ones to get it.
It
Like it has, for instance, it's a sequel to Wrong Trousers, obviously. You need to watch. It's what I did on Christmas Day. Sat down and watched Wrong Trousers before Doctor Who and this, and uh, and also it even has the bike from Close Shave.
Yeah, that's right. It does, doesn't it? It has like that. I do feel like both at the same time it's a non Wallace and Gromit film for it being like very very interconnected because it doesn't, it's never done that before. But at the same time, it feels like a return to form.
It's a very strange sort of thing. Like I mentioned on Twitter after I watched Chris Robin, but like there's a sort of spectrum with the films where like say one end is Grande Album, it's just Wallace and Gromit and uh well I guess Wallace and Gromit and no Grande Out and Wrong Trousers where it's just one speaking character in the form of Wallace and like a third character in the form of the Oven and Feathers McGraw. Like that's like the furthest on like sort of small scale, which is funny to say because in one they go to the moon. Uh, and let's say the other end of that scale is Curse of Where it has like dozens of characters and different and like a whole freaking like a main roster of main characters and like speaking parts and such, and like and feels like, very much like a Wallace and Gromit movie. It's like it's like that very much feels like a sort of you know how you have like TV shows that then get a film adaptation, like you get like
Oh yeah,
the Simpsons movie. Like
yeah, and it
this
feels
actually,
so big.
yeah, Where Rabbit feels like that for Wallace and Gromit. It's like that's like
Hmm.
such a it doesn't have a larger scale, but like it feels big, is what I'm
Yeah,
saying. Like that's the other end, and
it's
let's say like somewhere in the middle is like Matter of and Death and Close Shave, where it's like two speaking characters in the form of is it in the form of Wendelin and the baker like lady.
yeah.
Like
I
that's
I
like
forgot her name.
this this feels like somewhere between like Close Shave and Rabbit.
Yeah, where
It's like
it's
it feels more like a short film, like one of the short films that just happens to have an extra 30 have an extra 40 minutes.
yeah, exactly. Like it doesn't feel like it's meant to be a feature length film. It feels
It's
like it
like
was
the
shorter,
way
but
I,
it just happened to be longer.
the way I see it is like Curse of Rabbit feels like a film that was meant to be seen. That feels like a theatrically released film, whereas this
Yeah.
feels like this was always designed to be released on BBC One watch on Christmas Day around the telly with your family after having Christmas dinner. It feels like that. It
Yeah.
very much feels very like the original show, like sort of watching it on Christmas. Like it feels like a Christmas thing, whereas like wherever it is a very sort of cinema, like
Oh
movie
yeah.
feeling sort of thing.
Like there's
And like
so much in Were Rabbit that's feels so much more larger than life and more cinematic. The civilians get more to do. Like you learn more about their lives and everything. It actually feels quite weird in the context of Wallace and Gromit. But
yeah, it's weird, but like this feels more like a short film. Even in the opening credits, because like I really really love that like, the opening credits of this like very much feel like a continuation of the Whereabout one. It's like it's panning around the photographs.
yeah,
It's like
exactly.
I that was such a sweet detail. I love that. But like even here in that one in Whereabout, okay, just saying with my accent, Whereabout is really hard to fucking say. Because it says like Whereabout.
It's I guess that's like kind of the joke for like because Wallace and Gromit are like a British sort of thing, but and
Yeah,
saying Were
they're
Rabbit.
British and they're from Lancashire, which is like in the north. So it's like
Uh,
it's very much like that. But like I was saying, like in Europe, it's like a very much longer sort of sequence. It's very much like it's like with the music, it very much feels like Wallace and Gromit on the big screen with the orchestra of the main theme, much more lively and sweet and cutesy, like that sort of thing. And like whereas and like it goes through like it has a whole freaking comic strip sort of thing of like them taking a photo together, whilst then gets distracted by cheese, and
yeah.
then whilst then, he then walks out of the frame, whilst then walks off to a different frame, climbs up to a different frame, finds Wallace eating cheese, who then stuffs it in his mouth,
And
who
then
then
they're
has
both like
a cheese
angry.
chip, and then like they're in a separate frame each because they're mad at each other. And they look back and like do like a little wave. Next frame, they're back in the same frame with like a little vest that Grubber's knitted.
Yeah,
So it's a
exactly.
whole little sort of bit. Whereas like in Vengeance Was Foul, it's like a 30-second little bit where it's like just a few unrelated pictures, and
Yeah, I think that
yeah, it very much felt like the opening credits of like the first three shorts. You know?
yeah, the reason why I say it feels like a return to form is that everything feels like a callback to like previous Wallace and Gromit media. Like you got like Feathers McGraw breaking into the computer, and there's like the capture whatever the
Oh
fuck
yeah, how
with.
like it says click on the images that are cheese, and and
Yeah,
it's a cute reference and it isn't overly referential. It's a
it's like
cute
no,
little
hey, remember
oh,
this? Hey, you remember when they
and
went
like
to the moon?
the thing is it isn't like overly sort of reverent sort of thing where it's like look at how great our series is.
Yeah,
It's like it's the first time they've done a direct sequel in the Wallace and Gromit series, but like it isn't like overly pat on the back sort of thing. Like
it feels humble
part of me
still.
like when like in the opening when they did the whole many years and it cuts back to like uh wrong trousers, part of me was thinking like if they're gonna do a flashback, part of me was thinking are they gonna recreate the train cheese or something,
Yeah,
like are they gonna recreate the climax from like a different angle? And I thought no, they couldn't do that. For one, it'd be a bit too self-aggrandizing, and also it would murder the anime because
yeah.
even now they say they have no idea how they did that train chase.
Yeah, like that train chase is literally like revolutionary in terms of animation. Like it's still to this day, it would be near impossible to recreate without some sort of like VFX work or something, which would just completely murder like the whole point of the film, which is that like
It's like it's like they're not opposed or above using CG. Like in Whereabit,
mm,
there's a couple bits where they use a couple CGI bits. Like for instance, like in the big rabbit brainwashing machine, the little wave particles.
yeah,
Those are CG, and the rabbits that are floating about in the machine. Those are CG, but like that's little things, like just
yeah,
little bits. It's
exactly.
like with AI. It's like a tool. You shouldn't rely on it.
Yeah, exactly. And that's like the whole point of the film. Like, I think it's perfect that they use it for Wallace because it's shown throughout the entire series that Wallace is heavily reliant on technology. Like, he
Yeah,
barely uses it for anything else, like, than just for
yeah.
his
And the
own.
thing is, I do quite like that. Like he even admits, like he did. It's like it was good intended. Like he didn't intend for this to be. He didn't do it with malice or anything. Like
Yeah,
he says, like I wanted it to be done for good things. And it's like you can tell his intentions were good. Basically, it's
yeah,
like it's like he like makes everything more convenient because he doesn't want stress on Gromit.
yeah,
And like Norbot was done because he sees Gromit toiling away and I can easier for him. Like
yeah.
you can see where he was coming from. And it's like it was done with good intentions, but then it goes so far and like it spirals out of control, which is like what AI is in real life, where it's like it should be kept in check and should be and like for it's like the final line of the film basically, where it's like War says, but there's some things a robot can't do, and it's when he pats Gromit on the head.
Yeah, exactly, because he like made the whole head patter thing, and like it would just like violently slap Gromit on the head, whereas at the end of the film, it's kind of like comes full circle where he pats Gromit on the head himself.
Yeah, and like even stuff like they start using the teapot again because the opening, like throughout the
Yeah,
film, they established that the teapot they always used hasn't been used for ages because they just invented basically a coffee machine.
yeah, exactly. I kind of like the evolution of Wallace's like technological feats because it's a very good sense of progression because in the previous film, Curse of the Were Rabbit, they have this like whole transition where Wallace gets out of bed, they slide down the slide and everything. It kind of defies like logic because it's like they go down floors that don't exist in the house, and it's kind of like a funny little joke that like they've just entered this
I mean,
limbo space.
they also do that in the other shorts, like
Yeah,
I mean, they do that for all of them, man. But for instance, like the whole slidey down bit, falling into the well, it was always like he like slides down into the dining room, and that's
yeah,
done since like Wrong Trousers. Like in other ones, it's like he slides down backwards or something. Like in Close Shave, like that's where like he does the whole. It's like it. It's very much an evolution of the previous one, which
yeah.
and
But I just
and
like how it doesn't come out of nowhere for like for Wallace. Like it's a very clear sense of progression. Like of course he's going to use uh like technology to his advantage and is going to try and use it to make life like easier for himself because that's like what he's been trying to do for over the course of
yeah,
the
it's like
series.
and that was a very important thing I had to go across. It's like there is a running joke on Twitter that like Wallace is actually evil because he doesn't really care about Gromit or something, and it's like he's a genius, but he's also an idiot.
He's
That sort of thing.
basically
Like he doesn't really get people,
he's basically just extremely autistic. He loves his machines but just doesn't understand human emotion or dog emotion at all. And Gromit
yeah. And
being
it's like often he can't see the forest for the trees. Like that's the charm. He's a bit hapless, and it takes Gromit to save him to get out of it.
yeah, like there's this whole thing in Wrong Trousers where he takes in Feathers McGraw and practically like ignores Gromit the entire time. But like that's
And
not
it's like
his.
it's not his fault. It's because like he now has like someone he has to take care of because he has like a paying sort of lodger
Yeah,
who's like
exactly.
and to be fair, like it's easy to hear on the original cut of Wrong Trousers because there's a whole copyright thing because they used copyrighted songs in the original cut, but which have been replaced with like copyrighted original stuff. But when Gromit's like outside in like the pen, in, like the doghouse, like Feathers is playing "How Much Is That Dog in the Window,"
Yeah.
and and the next morning, the reason why Gromit is because Wallace is humming that song as he walks by. So it's like it's just a bit of Wallace being a bit hapless. But I do like that, like, because the whole thing is that AI is evil, specific thing, which a lot of people take and see this pro AI or something, where it's like it's a case of like it's a useful tool, but only when used rightly and at the right time. And like Wallace, like, being so obsessed with technology was like he had good intention. This wasn't a case of like he wanted it to replace everything or like was outright malicious. He just wanted it.
Yeah,
He just what he again. The main point is just that he just wanted to do good with it, and like it got taken, and just made to do evil stuff, which is what AI basically has done.
yeah, and I like I'm trying to think of anything else, but yeah, that's basically the whole point of the film. Like it is a film not only used as like a comeback for Wallace and Gromit, but also as a response to the AI thing. Because a lot of I've seen a lot of people say that AI is like really bad. It shouldn't be used at all. And I think,
Which is not the case. Like
yeah,
as as the film sort of ends with it, they do still use the Norbots,
yeah,
but for a case of like not overly relying on them. Still
yeah,
having the human touch is always important, and like they're just there to help out, not to like outright replace them.
yeah.
It's like the main like in the opening when they're first introduced, it's a case of like he like completely fucks up the garden by making it neat and tidy, and it looks like all blocky and boring and really robotic. And at the end, they're being used to like make it look a bit more, I guess, more like how a human would do it, like having the human touch and like having
Yeah,
that human influence. And like that's the important thing. But
yeah. I
but
think,
like but it's like I just think to how like it should be used to help, but not, it's like with Dune. Like in the first Dune film, they like had to painstakingly animate the Fremen's eyes to make them blue,
yeah,
and like I had to do that for every single one. And then for part two, they're like, we already know how to do it. Let's just train that process into an AI, and
yeah,
then we can just get on with something else. So it's like it's same with Spider Verse. It's like the whole Bend-Aid dot sort of aesthetic and the frame rate sort of thing that has to be painstakingly done for the first film.
yeah,
For Across the Spider Verse, they already know how to do it, so they just turn that info into an AI and apply that to the film. It's
yeah.
like generative AI is not good. AI as a tool to help out animators, that is good.
Yeah, exactly. I feel like this whole thing of rejecting AI as a whole is just a thing of stopping change from happening because I think a lot of people misunderstand that AI can be used for good. Like there's so many things that AI is useful for. It's just that when you use it as a whole, it starts get it. That's where it starts getting morally
When you use
ethical.
it as a when you use it as a crutch, when you use it as like a when you use it when how to put it, like when well I guess like when you overly rely on it, when when it doesn't when it doesn't help the process but it is the process, that's bad.
Yeah, I I do, yeah, I do think that this film is probably like one of the best anti AI messages like we've had so far. I think I don't think there's like one that comes into mind that's better than
The thing is like because the whole AI takes over the world thing was a cliche for years.
yeah,
Like it's literally what the Terminator franchise is built on.
yeah,
But nowadays, it's like we need like a film to actually like be more specific about like creative AI like, that's going on right now. And thing is, it'll still be like Terminator in that way. Like it'll still be timeless. It's just a case of like it was. I don't think AI is gonna go away anytime soon.
oh no,
But I
definitely not.
think like I think like it'll still be around like in some capacity and such. It's just a case of like this film will still be a good reminder, you know.
Yeah, I think that this film will be remembered quite well like over the course of the next like decade where AI is going to
Well,
get progressively stronger and I think this is just gonna be like a, a classic of sorts, just like a usual
Well,
Wallace and Gromit classic.
it's like I think it's like what Peter Kay said, because they did an art of book for this, which I really want to get, and he did the introduction in that, his
Hmm.
experience with the series, and how like he would watch it on rainy days and bank holiday Christmas, and because like it was always on, like Curse of River was always on, like on sort of holidays and that.
Yeah,
It was on Christmas Eve for goodness sake. So like, and like the short films are always on. Right?
yeah,
They're classics. It's like Christmas wouldn't be Christmas without Wallace and Gromit. Basically, it's why like
yeah,
this year it Wallace and Gromit, Doctor Who, and Gavin Stacey all happening on Christmas Day this year for the first time in like 15 years is
yeah,
like
exactly.
mental.
Yeah, it's
But like
insane.
it's like he said in the book is like this film will be for like kids growing up now. This'll be like among those other films. Like it'll be their curse of a were-rabbit.
Yeah, I I think that this like film as a whole has like really good messaging to it because there's the whole thing about like a lot of like neat representation in this film. Uh, like for example, there's like there's this like female cop in the force. And
I am Mukherjee.
yeah, exactly. And I not only is like the I think the AI messaging is really good, but I think it's really neat to see that Wallace and Gromit like take the whole stance of like women in the workforce and you know not only
Well,
that.
to be fair, uh, the whole ICAB, like they've
Yeah, yeah,
which to be fair, it does kind of lean that direction. I think with the AI is the serious message, but whereas like with the police, it was a case of like it was mostly just jokes about how like
Co-
utterly stupid and buffoonish Macintoshes.
yeah. Basically, like it's clear that like the whole thing isn't really Mokaji's fault because she's just like going off of information that is
It, it's like
provided.
it's like it's like uh, I don't want to suddenly make this political and suddenly make like a sort of not all cops sort of thing, but like when people say defund the police, they mean like get the corrupt ones out and get in people who actually like can do the job and aren't corrupt pieces of shit.
Yeah,
Like
and
that's what I think Mukherjee is. It's like
yeah,
get someone who cares about the job and actually knows and like will actually and won't just want to arrest someone because it's the easy thing. Like how like Macintosh's copper's gut is just going like she's going like should we gather evidence? Just book chuck him in jail. We've got better
yeah.
things to do.
And there's that whole thing of like when like he's hiding the crown jewel, like he puts it in this like locked encased area, and then Mokaji just points out like, oh, I guess there's the gift shop you can go through, and there's like the back
Yeah,
door, and he's like,
yeah.
yes, yes,
It's
but
like
it's locked away.
yeah, it's like he's like I designed these myself. And he's like, well, he could get in through the skylight,
Yeah.
the light, or he could get in through there, or he could get through the gift shop. And he goes, "There's a gift shop."
Yeah, or the fact that like he didn't even check the bag for if the gem was still in there. He
Yeah,
just kind of just locked it away.
it's
Like
like I said on that books. It doesn't say all cops are bastard, but it just says a cop is a bastard. The cop
yeah,
in particular.
yeah, and it's pretty consistent throughout because like in Curse of the Were Rabbit, like the guy's like,
Oh
I
yeah, he's
don't
like
want to cause a panic, but the beast is still out there. The beast is still out there, and like everyone just causes a panic. He's like, oh, sorry about that.
I fucking love that bit where he's like trying to like calm down the crowd because he spends the whole film going like this whole vegetable competition causes nothing vegetable, and then the actual thing comes out and he's trying to like order around the vegetables, and then like with like a megaphone, and then like
Yeah.
he accidentally blurts that out, and then like you just see everyone freeze, and suddenly you see even see like the merry-go-round that says fun fun, and then all three fun signs just suddenly start going out.
Yeah, I love that. Like it.
But
I,
but yeah, it's like the whole thing is that he's just hilariously inept and stupid.
yeah, exactly. And ah, I absolutely love it. I think that Wallace and Gromit has is one of those things that has aged extremely well. It's not one of those things where it's like, oh, that doesn't hold up too well. Like I don't think I like when revisiting my time of the show, I don't think there's like any sort of like messaging that's kind of like, oh, that one didn't age quite so well because it's like,
Well, thing is, it's not like messaging. It's a case of like, if- well, I think Curse River might be like the most. I don't want to say badly aged, but it's a case of like, hmm, just like because with how like, Christ, that film is horny.
oh yeah, oh yeah,
Yeah, like there is sex joke after sex joke in that film.
yeah. I don't know what happened there. I think the I think they were just extremely
I,
horny that year.
I, I think I know what happened. You see, because this was when they were still partnered with DreamWorks,
Yeah.
and first because the first like DreamWorks animated film, like the biggest one for them so far was Chicken Run, and that was their biggest one, and I was like that was their big shot, and then Shrek happened.
Oh yeah, that's right.
So then they want to be more crass, a bit more. I imagine they would like throw in a bit more sort of just for the adults sort of thing, like that sort of thing. So like, for instance, you could in like any other show, you wouldn't hear someone say the word arsing around,
Yeah,
or
exactly.
or straight up have the stripper music when they're trying to when they're trying to lure the wearer out, and Gromit's puppeteering the big statue, and he starts like shaking his legs, shaking his hips, and all that stuff. Or even like, or even later in the film when Wallace fully turns and he lures him out again by like sticking his leg out and like lure him away, and you hear like the stripper done in the like the Wallace and Gromit film done in the style of the stripper music. So it's like wow, wow,
Yeah, exactly. I love in that movie where
and
like Wallace is like a bit more alluring Gromit, and like Gromit's like, oh fuck's sake, and then he just does like this whole horny soning dance, and Wallace looks out, stares at it, and he's like, oh, it's just like he's like a little
yeah,
bit.
it's a bit weird because like I don't imagine Wallace being the type to be like uh horny. It's like he seems like an almost asexual character. His love is machines.
Yeah, like the other like the all the love interests he's like had has like weirdly not worked out for him because in Close Shave it was
Like
because
it's because she didn't like cheese.
yeah she's like allergic to it or something, and then
And it's like she's like can't stand the stuff. And you just see his face drop, and it's like not
he's
even Wednesday, Dale.
yeah, and then
And the final scene is just him being comforted by Gromit, going, "What's the matter? What's the matter with cheese?"
I love how in the Curse of the Were Rabbit, like Gromit is trying his hardest to make Wallace go on a diet because he has a crippling addiction to cheese. Like,
Yeah, and also in that film, like how like in that it's like he has a thing with Lady Tottington,
yeah,
who is like I don't I don't think they say why they don't get together. I think it's a case
no,
of like I think the reason like Nick Park and the directors have said is because she was aristocracy,
yeah,
which fair enough.
like
Eat the rich,
yeah,
but like
exactly.
her love is like nature, vegetables, and all that, and the whole bunny sanctuary bit. And like I think in like they do still like I don't want to say like they're still boyfriend and girlfriend, but like
I mean,
in like the DFS adverts lately, like they brought her back for the ad campaign, and
yeah,
like they were still and so I think like they might still like they say at the end like I hope like I think it was a case of like she hopes he sticks around because she's gotten used to him
I mean, I
and like
think.
I think they just on again, off again. They on again, off again, or friends of benefits.
Yeah, because I think like they said one of them said that they'd visit quite often with one another, and like
Yeah.
he has like a and he gave her like a, a Wallace rabbit to keep her company and
Oh yeah,
everything.
he gives a hutch because it's the rabbit that gets like infused with, because like the whole plot is that like Wallace slowly starts turning into a rabbit, and a rabbit slowly starts turning into him, and
Yeah.
so they just and so they give Hutch, which is the rabbit that's turned into him, over to her because well, to be fair, like he's unironically one of the best films because it's just Peter Sallis like doing in a high pitched voice, like just
Cheese.
quoting other. It's like he says cheese and other sort of famous lines like, "Oh, I do like me a bit of gorgonzola,"
Yeah. Oh, that
or
film is like.
when Wallace is like going, "I don't want to be a rabbit," goes, "The bouncer's gone from his bungee." It's like it's like he was just listing off of the best hits of Wallace.
Yeah, I think that also like Gromit gets some like really good comedy like throughout like both Curse of the Were Rabbit and this film, because in Curse of the Were Rabbit there's that whole fight scene between like the dogs, and then it
The
does that.
dogs and they're in like a sort of like coin, like a sort of plane sort of thing, but then like they take like the I guess the child lock away and it actually starts fucking flying.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
like they start fighting on it, but they run out of coins and they actually stop mid fight to like pull out some coins, and like the other one like pulls out a purse and like
Yeah,
looks and like just goes.
I
And
like they're
I,
both
I, I,
embarrassed.
I just love that trope. Like,
Oh
it's like
yeah,
they don't actually hate each other. It's just a case of like it is what it is. It's,
yeah,
and it's like I don't. It's like I get the impression that the villain of Werebit generally hates Wallace because like he nicked his girlfriend, but like I get the fun that like the dog Philip doesn't hate Gromit. It's just like doing what he's told, and it's like
the
it's just a funny little bit, and like I think even in this one there's a bunch of good jokes, like how like the opening bit where like he has to like he puts on the glasses because all the jam's gonna fly. But
yeah,
like,
exactly. Like he's learned
come on,
from
come on,
Wrong Trousers, where like.
yeah, it's fun. It's a funny bit, but also it looks like he's hungover.
Yeah, I think it's because he's just done with Wallace's shit. Like throughout the whole series, like Wallace just wants to chill, and then I mean Gromit just wants to chill, and then he just sees Wallace just working on some weird ass fucking invention. Like in the first shot, they go to the fucking moon because they've run out of cheese, and and Gromit's like, I guess I'll help out," and just like tries his hardest to help Wallace. In reality, Gromit just wants to fucking chill. He just wants to tend to his garden and
Yeah,
everything.
he just wants to tend to his garden, do some gardening, read books that are rewritten by actual dogs.
Yeah, I I do love the. I also going back to that fight scene. I do love how like both of them take turns like holding the shovel that like is used to choke Gromit. Like they're both like, "Oh, here, take this," and then they like take out the little person and everything. It's just so funny. And I like speaking of that dog. I don't like. I think that like he just doesn't hate anyone. It's just like he's kind of chill until I forget the guy's name. What's his name again?
Victor.
Victor just like tells him to do something. He's like, "Oh, I'm supposed to do this. Okay, I guess I'll just like act real like smug about it."
It's like the bit when in the main transformation scene when we see Wallace like turn into the rabbit and like really fucking good sequence, but then like you see Philip the dog just like scratch at the car window because like he wants to get in and then he starts digging
Yeah.
under it because he's scared shitless.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm really glad like I know we talked about a little bit about the references earlier, but like especially in this film, not Were Rabbit, Vengeance Most Foul, where a lot of the references are very, very subtle. Like, it's only if you've watched Wrong Trousers where you might make a connection. Like I was pointing out to you earlier, like Gromit is watching Feathers McGraw, and Feathers turns to him for a second, and you think it's gonna be like in Wrong Trousers where he turns to him and looks away and doesn't see anything, but this time he looks to him, turns away, and then there's like a fucking gnome soaring down the tree. It's like cute little reference material like that where it shows growth in the character, but also just a cute little reference to like, oh, I remember when that scene happened. It's kind of sweet,
Yeah.
and also the fact that they don't get feathers at the end of the day, kind of just paralleling the ending to like when they do. But
Yeah, it's like I don't think the next one will be a direct sequel to this because
nah,
they rarely do like sequels. Like I think like maybe the one after the next one might be a like sequel to this
yeah,
because thing is like it's not a case of like if they're gonna worry because the replacement voice actor's gonna die or something like PSL. So,
yeah.
no, they got plenty time. Like they can get these out quicker, and they have like a voice actor who only improve and
It
this team they seem to be getting better. Like I've heard the Chicken Run sequel wasn't very good.
I haven't heard much about the Chicken Run sequel actually, which might be.
Al- al- I've just heard like it's just like it's all right, but also like they replaced the main chicken character Ginger. They replaced her voice actor who was Julia Sawalaha. I'm not sure how to pronounce it. I'm sure no one is, but they replaced her because she sounded too old.
Oh yeah, that's unfortunate.
Yeah, and they replaced her with someone who's actually older. Go
Oh,
figure.
that's
But also, but it was even more unfortunate because, of course, the first one has Mel Gibson in it, so it's like, oh, we can't have him, so we're gonna have to replace him. And
yes.
so they replaced him with Zachary Levi.
Oh, great.
And put this way, this was like 2022, I think. So this was before he crashed out and became a. So
Yeah, exactly. Like it's just unfortunate time because the Mel Gibson stuff like wasn't really prominent until like I don't know, a decade ago.
mid 2000s, and Chicken
Yeah.
Run was like, well, no, they recorded all the stuff for him in '90s, I think. So like that'd be quite a while before. But like this is just, ugh, unfortunate. But like at least here, it's like there's nothing that bad or anything. It's like most of the voices aren't awful people.
Yeah, exactly. I
I do appreciate like some I do appreciate that like they don't go overboard on like getting celebrity voices or anything. Like
no, no.
mo the most there was obviously Peter Kay, but he was a pre-established character and he came back from like wherever. But the most was Diane Morgan as on your doorstep because if you don't know, she plays Philomena Kunk in Kunk on Earth.
Oh yeah, that's right. Like,
Yeah, or if you've seen the IT crowd, she plays uh, I forget her name. The the woman from the IT crowd, the one that isn't a man.
that I'm sure some will get it. I haven't watched the IT crowd, unfortunately, which may come as a shock to some.
I mean, it's funny for the most part. It does have quite a little data bits, but to be fair, it is written by Graham Linehan.
Yeah, oh yeah. I mean, it.
It is funny mainly because it has Matt Berry in it.
Yeah, exactly. It.
But yeah, but yeah, that's where I first saw her, and now she's pretty much known as Kunk. So it's like she's no longer fully associated with that. But yeah, she's like the most sort of recognizable voice. Like there was also like Sir Lenny Henry as like the I'm not sure what his name was. Like he drove in like the light bulb van that like you see
Oh.
for a split.
Oh
But yeah, he's
yeah.
like he, but yeah, he's like a big guy over here, and like he ran like Children in Need and Red Nose Day for like 30 years or something, and like he even over like the live action short thing, like
Yeah,
a
yeah.
really creepy one. That was him.
Oh, I see. Okay, that.
That was for a sketch show,
Yeah,
and I don't think they actually realized that. I think they didn't put that together. So, but
yeah.
yeah, yeah, that. But
There's something
yeah,
oddly sincere about this film. Like, it doesn't really have many, like, of course there's recognizable names, but it's not like, Chris Hemsworth starring as,
yeah,
this person.
it's not like because with like Cuz Rabbit, they wanted to replace Peter Sallis with a more well actor. Like
Yeah.
it's like they wanted like him to be more recognizable and also like less northern, which is funny because PSL isn't even northern. It's like southern, I think, but like it's just an accent. But like they want famous actor, which they were like no, it's like no one plays Wallace except PSLs, and
Ex-
now Ben Whitehead. But and I guess the compromise was getting big names like in with Ray Fiennes and Helena Bonham Carter, play Victor and Lady Todd. And
yeah,
even then, that
exactly.
wasn't enough because the studio wanted younger names.
Yeah, exactly. It's
But yeah, like it, like that sort of thing. It's like there's less of a push to be like a marketer. It's like the fact that it's Wallace and Gromit should be enough.
exactly. It feels like this whole film feels very humble and sincere and kind of almost a look back at everything they've done because there's so many references to the older things that like looking at like Curse of the Were Rabbit for example, there aren't as many like references to like their previous works, but here it's like it's like they're
It's
showing
like
it.
it's like it's like you have bits. I'm not sure. Well, for one, you have the bit where they reference the moonbeam, of course.
Yeah,
Then like the whole thing is a sequel to Wrong Trousers, of course.
yeah, exactly.
And then they have the bike from Close Shave,
Exactly. It feels
which
very.
which actually I really love. Actually, they give the bike a good bit of effort. It's like
Yeah.
the van from wherever and Matter of Life and Death has like been like just stripped because it doesn't have wheels anymore or an engine.
Yeah,
So like
exactly.
they just leave the shit. So it's like they get the bike out and like they give it this really real moment, and it's like that just made me really happy. It's like yeah, like
It's
that's an iconic band.
it's cute stuff like that that makes me that it's what reinforces my thought of like, oh, they're going to make more of these more often because it feels like it feels like the like that cool sir uncle who goes away for a while, and then like he like you barely see him, but you remember having like these really fond memories of him. I can't remember who said that. I think it might have been you who said that or someone else. But like what are like it's like that really cool uncle that you have really fond memories of, but like you rarely see. And this film just feels like that cool uncle who has come back and is like staying a bit, like will be staying over a bit more.
Yeah, like because thing is, Arbin don't put out that many films. Like, do take a
Yeah,
while because, uh, like in the 2010s, they didn't do that many. They had they had Arthur Christmas, I think. I think that was 2011, I think.
yeah,
And then they had Pirates and Adventure with Scientists, which I actually really like. I think that's really good. I really love that film
yeah.
because it has David Tennant in it, so of course it's good.
I I think that the like um the people who make like Wallace and Gromit, Shaun the Sheep, you know, all these other animated films, they can like these are like the last few who are still consistently making stop motion. Like stop motion is kind of a dead genre at the moment
Yeah,
and has been for like a good long while.
it's like they said in like the Grande in a documentary about the whole Arbin story thing, but they said like in the 80s when it was being made, that was the only way to do like 3D animation was
Yeah.
claymation, stop motion animation, and then like eventually they like they did it for so long that they can now do CGI as well. Like now it's gone to a point that like they can do claymation even better.
Yeah, but yeah, it's it feels like they're only like using it when they sort of have to. They're just kind of they're still going with claymation. It feels still quite I don't know. It feels quite humble and respectable that they're still going to their roots and still mainly using claymation only and uh like doing all these big set pieces with just claymation. It's actually incredible. The last
Yeah, I mean, and like they're clever about it because, like, for instance, like the big climax on the bridge, which I've heard, it's like Mission Impossible, but uh, that was like one set, like one much smaller set,
yeah.
which they then CG everything to because even with the scale they have, it would be a ginormous set.
Yeah, exactly. And I just love I just love how they do that. Like they use CGI when they have to, but for the most part, it's mainly just claymation. Like the last time we
It's
got
like,
like a big claymation thing was like I think it was Kubo in the Last Strings. I don't know if you remember that movie.
oh yeah, Travis Knight's films,
Yeah,
that Coraline. Wait, was Coraline? No, yeah, Coraline was stop motion because that was a
yeah,
Henry Selick. That was a Henry Selick film.
yeah. I I think this like while we may not be getting many like claymation films in future other than like the people behind Wallace and Gromit, I think it's still kind of nice that to know like that animation genre isn't dead as a whole, because some of my favorite like kids films like childhood films are stop motion, like Nightmare Before Christmas, Coraline, those types of, oh yeah, Corpse
I'll be
Bride.
honest. It always scared me as a kid. Like this,
Oh
just
yeah.
when you're younger, when you haven't like and you haven't processed that it's stop motion, it just has a very uncanny effect, you know.
I think yeah, that's the beauty of stop motion. I think like there's so many uses for it. Like it can be used in a horrifying way that makes it look so weird and uncanny. It still kind of creeps me the fuck out to this day. Coraline, like it's still a creepy movie. The whole like other mother uh thing is really weird.
Uh, yeah, yeah.
Like the whole spy,
Not
she turns
bad.
into a spider. Oh, it's so yeah. Oh,
That, yeah, yeah.
it's terrifying. And the
And,
Corpse
and the
Bride.
fact that they like turn the world turns into like a great big spider web, and like
Yeah,
she crawls down it. And just, yeah.
it's so good. And I know that Wallace and Gromit isn't gonna make like a horror film in future. Like the closest thing they had to a horror film was Curse the Were Rabbit, and even then it wasn't that horrifying. But just
To be fair, that was like a send up to like classic sort of horror monster movie sort of thing. Like
yeah,
like
very B
the most
movie
we get
ish.
is like ten. We get
Yeah.
the most we get is tension. Like it's like a Wrong Trousers is very much like Hitchcock in animation.
Oh yeah. Like I like how each short is a different attempt at something. Like with Wrong Trousers it feels kind of Hitchcock but also Mission Impossible in a way. Like the way like there's McGraw's inventing these things to try and infiltrate the secret base. I mean, like not the secret base, but to get the secret gem that's heavily guarded. Like it feels very Mission Impossible esque. Uh, like a, like
Thing is,
everything feels
came out
different.
before. And
Yeah, so I guess we can truly
like,
say that Wallace and Gromit was the blueprint for Mission
like,
Impossible.
when did the first Mission Impossible come out?
The
Like the
90s, I
movies.
think. Like, definitely not, because,
That narrows it down.
yeah, yeah, the 90s, it all happened then. Mission Impossible, oh, I'm looking this up. One. It came out 1996, so 7 years after.
Yeah, because Wrong Trousers was 1993, I think, or 1992.
Yeah, I think so. I thought it was 1989. Hold on, let me. I'm, I'm not good at my Wallace and Gromit lore. Hold on. Yeah,
Actually,
Grand
it's funny
Day.
to think that, like well, it's funny to think that like Wallace and Gromit has been around for so long that like it did Mission Impossible before Mission Impossible, and now it's done It's and now people are saying it was inspired by a recent Mission Impossible film.
Yeah, it's so odd. It's actually kind of cute. I also the fact that there's been like the fact that it feels like there's more Wallace and Gromit than there actually is. Because like growing up, I grew up with Wallace and Gromit, and it feels like it was this whole like franchise with so many entries into it. But in reality, it was just
Yeah,
like a few
yeah,
shorts.
yeah, but you think of it as like a TV show, as
Yeah,
like their TV characters, but
yeah,
like no, it's like it was when I was younger. I think I just remember it as the three shorts and wherever because I didn't really know about Matter of Love and Death, but
yeah.
I think that this might have been I might because like this like I was like three when Matter of Love because that was 2008.
Oh
So
yeah,
yeah. Plus, like, it does have some sort of things. It has like the Cracking Contraption series. Like
yeah,
that was that was before wherever that was like on YouTube and on BBC One, but has that has like a lot of great little. It's where like it's where Wallace dressed up. Wallace dresses Gromit up in like a Robin costume against like a backdrop for like a Christmas card. And even in that one, he has him like pose, like doing like a little cheeky pose and goes, hoo hoo, cheeky. And and like, the whole bit is like, oh, you'll never get a scene like that, not on the Sunniest of Sundays. And then they pull the back, then they pull the backdrop off, and the window's there, and it just looks just like the cards.
yeah, exactly. It's definitely
And,
the Mr. Bean effect.
yeah, but also, while I mentioned cracking contraptions, my favorite is a smart cooker, like a smart
Oh
chef
yeah.
thing, which looks a lot like a Dalek because
Oh,
like
of course.
it spins around, has a thing on it, and it starts like messing up. Like it launches eggs onto Walter's face and like starts spewing tea everywhere,
Yeah.
and they clog like the nose that like spews the tea, and it starts spinning around, and it just like
Well,
starts
yeah,
like say like random phrases like fill it up and Lord, put it in the curry, and then
it's
it just
cute.
goes, "Mm," it just says knickers and then blows up.
Yeah, I suppose if we were speaking of like favorites, like in relation to like favorite Wallace and Gromit media, it's kind of hard to pick. But like if I were to choose, like if I were to really choose, I'd probably say like Wrong Trousers and Curse of the Were Rabbit. Those are my two
Oh,
favorite.
thing is, yeah, the thing is, I didn't really grow up with the shorts per se. Like they were definitely there. I definitely
Yeah,
remember seeing them on the telly a couple times. Like I remember seeing as a kid like the end of Wrong Trousers at some point when I was at my grandma's house or something. Like I
yeah,
remember seeing that. Like, it just it just always has that feeling of you've seen it at some point. But like in
yeah,
terms of one that I actually watched and like watched again and again and again and have memories of, it was rare. It was where.
yeah. Were Rabbit is just a classic. I think that Were Rabbit is like a proper. I think it's that whole Wallace and Gromit on the big screen feeling, and it feeling
Yeah, it's like
larger than life in a
because
way.
like a part of the charm of of the original shorts is how like intimate they feel. Like they feel
Yeah,
they have their own sort of vibe because there's only two or three characters in a form of like at most you get like uh because for instance Wrong Trousers is always on a Christmas because it's like it's a classic, it's a masterpiece.
oh
And
yeah,
like it's the iconic
absolutely.
and
I,
like it has such a quiet feel. Like there's very little music and all the audio is like
it's
ADR sort of stuff.
it's
So it has a
almost
very sort of has a very unique sort of sound. It's like the sort of thing like on like a quiet Boxing Day or Christmas Day, and like you watch it while you're cuddled up on the sofa. It just has that feel, like a very intimate, close feel, and
it's
like where it doesn't quite have that, but it does have its own unique sort of warmth. You know, it's like it's very it's very bank holiday film. Like, I know I've said
yeah,
that, but like it is a very much like a film you watch on a rainy day.
yeah, absolutely. It feel I'll say this. Close trousers. I mean, not close trousers. Wrong trousers. I'm getting close shave wrong with wrong trousers. I'm no, I'm getting my Wallace and Gromit lore confused with other Wallace and Gromit lore. Wrong trousers is as close Wallace and Gromit gets to being almost a silent film. Like you could probably turn the audio off. Like you could turn the TV like audio off, just completely lower the volume, and it would just work as a silent film because it, it's
Yeah,
mostly
I mean,
from yeah
because most of it is based on like Gromit and
yeah
Feathers. Like that's the main thing,
that's the main
and
conflict.
and most of the sort of like it just follows Gromit, and like I mean, I guess like if you just remove the dialogue, you could probably still get it.
Yeah, I
But
mean it, the
like it's very much visual. It's very much visual. It's very visual comedy. Like,
yeah and
because but if you have to keep you have to keep the music though. Like
oh
if you
yeah
just keep the music, like you have to because like most of the tension comes from that, and like
oh yeah
most of the music in the train chase is like perfect.
oh yeah absolutely. I oh yeah I mean there's not much to say about the train chase other than it's perfect. It's one of like the best things, like the best things to come out of like animation, just as like a visual feat and just a feat in general in animation, that it's like it
Yeah,
should
it's
not have been done, but it was.
like like recently someone was posted like enough of negativity. Awesome, and someone posted a train, and
Oh
like
yeah.
pretty much all of Twitter was just marveling at it.
Oh yeah.
And like just still wondering 30 years later how the hell did they to
Yeah, it's one of those things where it's like this this thing the trains, no matter like what happens to Wallace and Gromit, that thing will be remembered practically forever, because that thing is like one of the biggest feats in animation, like in history. It's so impressive. It's so big.
I mean it won an Oscar. Like I'm fairly certain almost every Wallace and Gromit film has won an Oscar.
Yeah,
Like Randy Out won an Oscar, Wrong Trousers, Close Shave. Where
yeah.
Rabbit was I think was Where Rabbit the best animated film of that year?
I think so.
I think it mattered because I know Chicken Run was one of the reasons it meant best animated film.
Yeah, it had to have been. It had to have been. I can't remember any other.
Because I know that the other films were like a best short film, but like they hadn't done a best animated film. 'Cause it was their first film. But
Yeah,
like
I'll have to ask my friend about that.
I don't know if Matter of Life and Death did it because that would be a short film.
Yeah,
Uh, but yeah, like they've all won Oscars, all gonna be like remembered and
yeah, because like of course, like it's an Oscar film. Like if you look at any of the best animation, like the category for that, it's going to be remembered because people still watch through like Oscars. Like I think one of my friends went through all of the best picture films like in history, and yeah, that like so people still do that. I Because like one of my friends is insane enough to do to do it, but yeah, I think out of everything, Wallace and Gromit is still getting like Oscar winners and getting Oscars for everything. I think I think it won't be any different because Vengeance Most Foul has like the most slick updated animation. Like it looks so much more impressive. Like you can tell like everything feels updated. It feels slick. It feels smooth. Uh, Although it's not like one of those things where the old animation is quite janky, because I think the old animation has a lot of charm to it that that carries on into the new animation. Like the old animation has that the thumbprints accidentally on them, and that it feels a lot more claymation like. Whereas the new films, they still look like like a stop motion claymation animation, but it feels a lot more slicker. It feels a lot more clean, with still carrying that charm that it usually has with the animation, which
yeah.
is very hard to carry over because sometimes you can update your whole like animation style, and it just won't be as charming, or it won't have that same feel
Yeah,
to it.
because like, for instance, like Grand Day Out, like that is a very, like sort of rudimentary, very sort of, you can, it's a very roughly animated film.
Yeah,
But then like Wrong
it's
Trousers, you can see the improvement for one, like actually consistently animate Walter's mouth like that with a
yeah,
very wide mouth. Because like in Grand Day Out, it's like it doesn't have that.
yeah. If you
But like I think it was like Close Shave is like when you can see the style like find its consistency.
yeah, they're starting to find their footing. It's amazing if you watch all of the Wallace and Gromit media, like from the beginning to finish, you can just see the style and animation take its form. And even then, like a Grand Day Out still looks really nice. Like it still has that charming vibe to it. That
Yeah.
yeah, it's all just incredibly charming. It never really feels like it loses its sense of self in the Wallace and Gromit films. It all feels like Wallace and Gromit.
Yeah. Because like it's like I think something like it was like a criticism where that it doesn't have the charm of the originals because like and for another reasons and like I get where they're coming from because like it does very much feel big blockbuster Hollywood sort of feel, but like and as someone who grew up with it, it's like it's just a Wallace and Gromit film.
Yeah, I I think that
Mm.
like the progression. I feel like it progress like the natural progression from a Grand Day Out to Curse of the Were Rabbit feels very natural because in Curse of the Were Rabbit we barely get anyone. In Wrong Trousers we get hints of people being around, but they don't really like they're not really around. And a close shave we get like actual humans, and we get a Shaun the Sheep like cinematic the Shaun the start of the Shaun the Sheep cinematic universe that gets like
And
carried on.
to be fair, like Sean is introduced in, but like but isn't the same Sean. I think like
uh
because the whole thing is that the farmer and Shaun the Sheep got Sean as like a lamb.
yeah,
I think there's a bit in one of the Shaun the Sheep movies where like they think they're gonna die, and like he sees in his reflection, like, he sees like the dog and Sean as little babies, as like really small things, and like if this was the same Sean from A Close Shave, that couldn't happen because Sean was still fairly big. That
yeah,
happened, so it's meant to sort of be like it's how do I put it? It's like it's sort of the same. It's the same recognizable character, but it's not like the same character. I don't
yeah,
know.
yeah,
But like, then they throw the farmer in the newest one, and then suddenly that I separate all out the window.
yeah, exactly. I think that I don't know. I just don't agree with the fact that like Curse of the Were Rabbit feels too big. Like I feel like it feels like it's been set up for that. Like the whole previous short films have been set up for something bigger because you start to see more characters and everything, and I feel like it
I
gets
mean,
like paid off and
it's mostly a case of budget
yeah,
and what they're capable of. Not necessarily like setting film. It's like, oh, we're gonna go bigger next time. It's a case of what can we do next time, you know? So like,
yeah,
for instance, like I don't think this one had like the highest budget, but like, it was still like fairly mid level. Like again, it's like on that spectrum between and Rabbit. But
yeah.
I don't know. Part of me kind of hopes they go smaller for next. Like
Yeah,
I'd like a, I want like a short film for next time.
I think that they are probably gonna go small because like if you compare Curse the Were Rabbit to Vengeance Most Foul, I mean it Vengeance Most Foul is quite big, but like it's not as big as Curse the Were Rabbit. It's definitely like
Yeah, it's like I said like this, where it was like we've said it, but like Vengeance File feels like just an extended short film, wherever it was
yeah,
like a movie, and it's like it's mostly due to the scope because they're the same length, like they're the same length, and like
yeah,
plenty of stuff happens in both, but one just feels bigger, like one has bigger scope. I guess like you could tell one is a DreamWorks produced film.
Yeah, and one isn't. One is like it's a bit more lower budget. But I feel like
It's like for better or worse, you can see the money behind it.
yeah, I I I'm just so glad that Wallace and Gromit is back because it's one of those franchises that you can watch and you can expect it to be good. Like it's always going like every single entry has been great. Like either like a masterpiece or just absolute perfection. Like that's the kind of consistency you can really expect from Wallace and Gromit. Cause there's like not really
Yeah.
a single entry in Wallace and Gromit where I'm like, I'm not sure if I really like that one. Like all of them are super charming and sweet, and they also have like really neat moral lessons at the end of it, which I kind of find cute. Like it's not just like it's not only a thing that like adults can enjoy. Like you don't need any sort of knowledge about Wallace and Gromit. You can just watch a lot, like just any single one. Maybe not Vengeance Must Foul, but if you want, I mean, you can still probably watch Vengeance Must Foul.
Yes, you can. They do sort of like
Hinge
they
on,
give you all the context. They give you the context that you need,
yeah,
but it's a case of like it works better if you've seen wrong trailers.
yeah, but like it's that thing of like you can practically see all of like any single one of them, and you'll like you'll have a good time with them.
Like for the most part, you can still watch them in any order and
Yeah.
watch any one you want, and you're not pulled into to chronology.
Yeah, exactly. And I just like like in Wrong Trousers, there's like that whole thing of like like looking at from both Wallace and Gromp's perspective, like it teaches children like not to like lock your friends out, like not to what's the word for it? Basically, don't exclude your friends from things, and from Gromit's perspective, um, it's that like helping kids relate to that feeling of like when that does happen, like what happened, like how you deal with it and everything. It's kind of sweet because it looks at it from both sides. I don't know if there's like a moral of the story and a grande out. I guess the moral of the story is just uh, try and accomplish your goals.
Cheese.
Cheese.
The moral of the story is cheese.
Cheese. Oh, I love cheese.
Basically, the moral of the story is, you know that clip of Jim's slams
Oh
cheese into him and he just
yeah,
goes,
cheese. Yeah, he just slams it. Yeah, that's the moral of the story. A close shave, I guess, is helping a friend out in need because it's all about like uh,
yeah,
help. Yeah, I don't know but what I'm saying is that like it's basically good for any like you can watch it at any age and still
yeah.
have like a grand old time with it because it's Wallace and
And like
Gromit.
I enjoyed it as a kid. I actually enjoyed the films more
Oh
as an
yeah,
adult.
I it's weird because like I grew up with like Wallace and Gromit and everything, but I never was like this is my favorite thing. It's was more or less just like a this is what I look back fondly on in my childhood, and it was definitely Wallace and Gromit. Uh, but looking back at it now, like as an adult, it's so weird calling myself an adult because I'm not really, but I am. It's weird, but like looking back at it now, I have a lot more respect to it. I think it might be because like we both have an interest in media now. We both like analyzing it and talking about it, and that might be why that we have a lot more respect for it and why we like it more because of just the feats it was able to accomplish. Like looking behind the scenes at what the crew and I forget what like the guy's name is. Ard. I fucking don't remember.
Hardman.
Yeah,
It's
Ardman.
like it's been like Hardman.
Yeah, hard man. But like the things they're able to accomplish, they talked about like how this type of thing would take ages and how they had to painstakingly animate certain things. Like the if you look at any behind the scenes stuff, and I highly recommend that you do. Like most of them are only like a few minutes. They're not extremely long like most behind the scenes documentaries. It's actually just like a few minutes long. They talk about like the process of what it takes to do this type of animation, the struggles that they faced against it. and I think it's really good if you just want to, if you really like Wallace and Gromit and you want to a bit more information on it, if you want, to have a new set of appreciation for these films a lot more. Not to say that like it's impossible not to enjoy them more, but like after watching the behind the scenes from, I definitely hold more appreciation for them than I did, when I was like just watching them casually. And I think that I think, especially now with like what I mentioned before, claymation, stop motion animation is like a dying genre. I think that makes me respect Wallace and Gromit more for still sticking with its roots and being like, yep, we're still gonna do this. Like we might use like the tiniest bit of CGI in each of them, but we're still fully committed to stop motion, and it works so well with the message it's going for. I guess like is there anything else we want to talk about? We didn't. I guess like no, we talked about Gromit. We talked about Gromit. Uh, yeah. Anything else? I
Uh, no, I think that might be everything.
Oh yeah. Oh, actually, one more thing. I like how in every single entry they use that classic theme for every single time. They haven't changed it really. It's more like it's the same opening theme, and it feels nostalgic every time. It feels like you're being welcomed into the world of Wallace and Gromit. It's very cute. I
Yeah.
I love it. But yeah, this is actually a surprisingly short one. I mean, not too surprising because there's not too much to say with the all the material Wallace and Gromit has. Like the
Yeah, it's like Wallace and Gromit is more like neat.
Yeah,
It's not like this super duper deep. Well, you can find depth in it, but
yeah,
it's not like the most well written. You know what I mean? It's not like the best. Okay, okay. Actually, it might actually be the best films ever made. You know what I fucking mean.
yeah. It's
You
not.
know what I mean.
It doesn't have the deepest lore ever. Actually, it might if you really, really analyze it. But
It doesn't. It's not like Citizen Kane. It's not like there's not like hours and hours you can do to dissect that
yeah,
narrating. It's like
it's it's
it's fairly simple.
it's literally about a man who likes cheese and making things, and a dog who just wants to chill. It is like the most basic premise ever, and I think it's more impressive that they're able to do so much with that premise rather than like making it all complex and everything, because it's still like, even with Vengeance Most Foul, it's still like a very simplistic film to follow. Like there's not really anything that's complicated. It's literally a break. Like one side of the story is an anti AI message conveyed by gnome bots who make Gromit Wallace's life easier, and the other is a breakout story where Feathers wants to take revenge on Wallace and Gromit while also stealing a gem. Like they're both very simplistic, and I feel like it. I feel like that's not going to change anytime soon. Like Wallace and Gromit's never going to get complicated. Like it's the most simple plots to follow along. So yeah, that if that's why this one seems a bit short, then I mean that's why. There's not too much other than uh to casually discuss about Wallace and Gromit. Like it's all pretty simple. We there's only so much we can talk about with these films, but yeah, I guess if you want to end it off, I mean it makes sense because like you started it, but also what the next one will be about, because we do have plans for the next one. I'll let you
Uh, uh, well, I have a few things on the pipeline, I guess. But one is we could potentially be doing an episode on Creature Commandos
yeah.
because that's all out. That's all out now, and
If you
it looks. It, not shoot at the idea immediately. I hope like I enjoy it more when I watch it because like at the moment it is like a gun project. I don't have like I'm not like dying to watch it.
Yeah.
It looks good, but it's just like maybe I'll enjoy it more once I've given it a shot.
Yeah, I think like the only reason I'm more like looking forward to covering it is because it's basically the start of the DCU. It's the start of a new era, and I
Yeah, like the thing I've heard is that like it wasn't intended to be that. This was written, pitched, and started while he was before he was the head of D Studios. Like this was gonna be the DCEU. So
oh yeah, I mean that makes sense. But yeah, I've seen half of it so far. Very good. Uh, it if we cover it, then it'll probably be next week. If we don't, then I mean you'll know because we won't.
next
Oh wait, no, not wait.
we'll cover it. We'll
Oh yeah, no, that actually I realized how soon that is. We'll cover it soon. That's what if it happens,
yeah,
it'll be soon.
we'll cover it. We'll cover it when we.
Yes, that is our schedule. That is our motto. That is promised to you. We'll cover it whenever.
It will happen. It will. It will happen when it happens, and if it happens,
Yeah,
and if it doesn't happen,
you'll know.
oh dear, oh dear.
Yeah, if it doesn't happen, you will definitely know because you won't get a notification. But if it does, that's the thing. We're so shit at this.
Okay. Let's just end this. Let's just end it. Let's end it. Nip it in the bud.
Yeah, exactly. Uh, yeah. I'll leave it over to you. I got nothing much else to say other than thanks for watching.
Uh, I guess to end it off, um, I guess see you next time, whenever next time is. Trans rights, free Palestine. Uh, good luck to the firefighters over in LA, and bye bye.
And eat lots of cheese and crackers, but not the real life ones. But
Cheese,
cheese. That should
cheese,
be yeah cheese.
cheese.